Hello. And today we're talking about leadership. So, to start off with, we're going to talk about different types of power that's used in leadership. That's what we discussed this morning on our mentoring session. Different types of power that can be used in leadership to influence. See, leadership at its core essence is influence, making people think differently, do things differently, basically causing change. And it's not always apparent that leadership is occurring or taking place, but leadership is having influence, having impact, causing change. And so, going into ways that we can influence or lead, we're going to talk about power. So, types of power. There's one called referent power. Referent power is where an individual uses their character, their way of being to influence people. People just like them. They like who they are. They respect that person as a person for who they are, how they show up. This is just who they are. And that's one way that people have power. Sometimes it's called charisma. But I believe at its core, it's more than just charisma. It's about character. It's about who a person is that causes people to want to follow them. There's another one, legitimate power. That's another one of my favorites, in addition to referent power. Legitimate power is the position that you have, such as, an example would be like a judge or a police officer or a pastor of a church, someone who has the position, who has the authority to lead. And generally people get into those positions, well, hopefully it's because of their qualifications and because of who they are that they get into those positions. Not always the case, but ideally that's the case. Another type of leadership is expert leadership. So, or expert power in leadership. And that means a person has the knowledge, has the wisdom accumulated, and knows how to apply it. That's expert power. They are experts in the subject, and that makes them the leader in that situation or circumstance. So if I know more about communication than other people, then I can lead other people in communication because I know, I have the knowledge, I have the wisdom, I'm the expert in that, expert power in that situation. Some other forms of power, those are my three top favorites, I would say. Some other forms of power are coercive power. That one uses punishment or withholding things as punishment or administering punishment. That one should be used sparingly, if at all. Only time I would say that is appropriate is when there's a situation, for example, in the Army, that people can get hurt. When there's gunfire and a sergeant or leader, lieutenant, whoever is leading, I apologize if I just totally messed up the rankings there, but whoever is leading can say, look, you need to do this or else there will be punishment. If a soldier doesn't respond to that, many people can get hurt and die. So that is an instance in which coercive power can be implemented and be used for good. Not always the case can it be used for good. Oftentimes it's abused in different circumstances, but in certain instances like that where people's lives are at risk, people are in danger, it's a good time to use that because it gets things done. So be careful with that one. Other types of power. Ecological power. Controlling the environment that people are in. Now, to some degree, the government has some ecological power because they set laws that affect everybody in the country. They create road systems and bridges and regulate airspace and what we can and and are not allowed to do with our property and different things with public lands. So they have some ecological power. They decide to some degree, and we get to vote and have our say, but ultimately they have the power to say, this is how it's going to be, this is how it's not going to be. Another form of power, data power. So this is, or information power, I should say. This is where a person has access to data. They may not know it or have that experience and wisdom on how to apply it, but they have access to the data, the information, and they have access to share that or not. So like a librarian would be a very simple example of this. A librarian has access to lots of data, and you can go and pick out some data in the form of a book that you would like to take and read, but unless the librarian checks that book out and allows you to take that and do that, then you don't have access to the data. So that's one example, and there's many others. Anyway, types of power. Those are a few that I know of, and so that's what we talked about today on our session, our morning session. If you're interested in checking out, being a part of, joining one of our morning sessions, let me know. Leave a comment. You can find me on social media and send me a message, direct message on social media. You can contact me via email. My email is mcnally.s.tim@gmail.com. You can find me on social media as Tim McNally. I'd love to have you join. Check us out. I have a business communication and leadership strategies company. I am available for private sessions and would love to connect with you. I do have a service fee that I'll be charging. We can discuss that and work that out. I have special fees for students, discounted fees for students. So if you're interested, let me know. I'd love to connect with you. Don't forget, if you would, I would greatly appreciate you liking and subscribing. Like the video, subscribe to my channel, and share it with friends. Anyone that you think would benefit from this. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.